Hey guys, Asian Kyle here today, and we're going to talk really quickly about pens. As you know, as the saying goes, the pen is mightier than the sword, and here's just a very small assortment of these disposable pens for you here. So, first and foremost is this Pentel RSV PRT. It's just a clicky guy, and it writes very, very well actually. I'm kind of impressed by it actually for being a disposable. Next is one of these black capped RSVPs. If you're anything like me, your elementary school teacher had a ton of these sitting on their desk, usually in red, to correct any sort of mistakes. I really like to sneak these off when I was a young boy and take them and use them because I wrote so well, and then obviously the teacher figured out and take them back. Next is this Pilot G2. This is one of my favorites. It always has been. It writes very, very smoothly. It's actually a nice size. It's not too big, definitely not too small. And overall, I'm very impressed with it. The only thing I don't really like about it is just the ink gets a little smudgy, and it's very tough to write on things that aren't very smooth. Any dust or anything on your paper and it stops. Here's just a Sharpie. This is just here just for reference. Here's another one. This is a Foray. That's how you say that. On point ballpoint. My wife really likes these, and they do write very smoothly as well. She's kind of a pen snob where I got all these pens from. And here's a Pilot. These are just excellent little throwaway pens. Nothing really too spectacular about them. They don't write particularly smooth. The clicking action is somewhat loud. Overall, this is just a pen to have if you just want a nice pen to write with, but you're really not afraid to lose it. Here is another Pilot pen. The greatest claim to fame with this one is they're actually made from recycled water bottles. So if you're into that, you know what, fantastic, more power to you. They write okay. I don't think they should have used the same roller ball in this one that they did. Not my favorite. Here's another one, and I think we actually might have taken this from one of our doctor's offices or something. We can try and figure out the brand here. It's a Bic Exact. Oh, geez, it's so hard to read. There we are. A Bic Exact. It actually writes really well. It is a fine point, so if you're really not into that, then, you know, whatever floats your boat, it's all good. But the pen itself writes really well, and it's great for a fine point pen. And lastly, this is another one of my favorites as far as ballpoint pens are concerned, where this is more of my favorite. I guess it is technically a ballpoint, but it's more of like an ink gel pen. But this is my favorite ballpoint pen. This is just a simple little Foray advanced ink ballpoint, and as we see here, needle tip. But yet it writes in 0.07 or 0.7, and on any sort of paper like a moleskin, it's so smooth. I really do enjoy these pens. My only complaint about these is just the ink kind of gets splotchy and then balls up if you do any sort of long continuous line. So it's a great pen though overall. I would have a cup full of these in my desk at my office, except for if your office is like mine, pens grow legs and walk away. So here's a very small collection of disposable pens. So why are we talking about pens? I think that's the question at hand here. And scouring YouTube, I was looking for another pen to acquire. I had a Hinder Investigator for a little bit, and while that was a great pen because the Fisher space pen or space insert on that guy, it wasn't very fun to write with. It was really heavy for the size. It wasn't super comfortable to write with over long term, just because, as you see here in the picture up to the left, it's uncomfortable to write with. All the edging and the knurling, and it just wasn't all that great. I think I probably could have improved it by putting some little O-rings on it like Knife Girl Alley did, and I considered it, but I never got around to it. So ultimately I sold it to one of my friends, and he got it for a screaming deal. So you know who you are. I hope that pen serves you well. It was great, but it's just not really my cup of tea, and I think I got really caught up in the tactical sort of realm with that pen. So instead I got something different, and I looked a little bit, and I'd considered getting a tactile turn shaker, and then, you know, I kind of bounced between some Karas custom pens, and ultimately I kind of decided with this one. So this video, guys, is a video mostly about an unbagging, because it's in a bag, and a little bit about a first impressions, but mostly just because I don't see any pens of this on YouTube as of yet, and there's very, very few reviews on it. So it's just a simple little package. It's a little pen from Everyman Co. So it came from Provo, Utah. It arrived at my door in about 3 days, so a little slow, but that's okay. So let's go and just get this guy opened up here. Got my handy dandy little ZC0450. Oh man, it's such a great little knife on ball bearings. Only a couple shortcomings on this overall. A review to come on that, guys, I promise. So now that I've got my packaging open, let's go and slide this out. And let me actually make sure, yep, there's no packing slip in it, which is always kind of odd, but whatever. So here we are. Let's go ahead and just kind of push these off to the side. We will probably be bringing those in as a reference later, but there we are. So far, the packaging is it's good. And I know you're like, so what about the packaging? What about the pen? But hey, packaging actually says a lot about a company if they take pride in it. If they're super utilitarian, like the Investigator was, and only came in a little baggy. But overall, the packaging is actually done very well. It's got just one of these little dot stickies on it, which is kind of cool. It's better than a piece of tape, for example. Overall, the packaging is it's done quite well. I like it a lot. Now this is interesting. Nowhere on the website did it say where it was made, so I had assumed it was made overseas. But just as a small thing about their customer service, I did ask them where it was made, and that was Tuesday. Right now, the filming of this video is a Friday. Still no answer. I don't know what's going on, but overall, I am impressed with the packaging. I did get a little bit mushed in the mail as it came in just a flat little bubble pack. So let's go ahead and actually open this guy up real fast, and we'll see what's in it. Try and do it without destroying the packaging. So here we are. See, what does it say? Use alternate spring for Fisher Space Pen refill cartridge. Everyman.us/Grafton. So it comes packaged in some foam here, which is nice to kind of protect the pen. And here is the actual spring right up there. And I think that's probably a little insert to put around the Fisher Space Pen, but we'll see about that. So now to the pen itself. It does come in this little baggie. Whatever, it's just a baggie. No real complaints there, so there we are. Actually, it doesn't even have a flap on it like I had assumed. So here's the Grafton pen, guys. We're gonna kind of push all the packaging way off to the side here. So here is the pen, and actually, I am impressed with it. It's I chose the silver. It does come in black as well, but the black being anodized, if you ever use anything that's anodized, eventually it does show wear over time. Just as a quick example, here is my Phoenix LDO2 flashlight. It's a good flashlight for the money, but here we go. Just a little bit of wear and tear. It loses its finish after a while, so oh well. But here's the pen, and I do like it quite a bit. It's nice and wide feeling, a lot like one of these Sharpies, for example. So just some really quick specs on it really quickly, guys. This pen is 11 millimeters wide, basically coming out to 0.433071 inches. So a little under a half an inch wide, which does attribute to its comfort. And overall length is it's 145 millimeters, 5.7 inches. So it's kind of a lengthy pen. Just for a reference, here it is against a Sharpie. So as you can see, it's a little longer than a Sharpie. Here it is against the Pilot G2. So a smidgen shorter than the Pilot, but not really by much at all. And here's an RSVP capped. So as you can tell, the RSVP capped is much longer than the actual pen itself. And that was one of the criticisms I did have against the RSVP, was the fact that it is a little bit long. So, but here it is. Let's test out the little clicking function of it. It's gritty, to say the least, as far as the cap is concerned. Yeah, it's just kind of gritty. Not a whole lot to report there. And I think most of that's just because of the finishing. As you can tell, it is a silver finish, but it's textured a little bit. So I think that's where it comes. It'll probably wear out over time. The pocket clip is actually quite substantial. It does have a little bit of play, but that's to be expected on anything with a 2-screw design, including this ZT, for example. But overall, the construction is really nice. It unthreads nicely, and actually if you wrench it a little bit, it does lock it in place better. So let's take this thing apart and kind of see what we got. As we see here, there is a spring, and there's the refill. This looks kind of like a Pilot G2 refill that's been rebranded, but it's lacking a little bit of luster, we'll call it. So just go and reassemble the pen right here. but it does click with authority. So I'll take off the little protective cap there. Overall, it really is very comparable to this Sharpie as far as length goes, so it's very comfortable to hold over time. I really do enjoy it so far. I'm really pleasantly excited to be using it as a pen in my everyday use, so I'm very excited to keep using this. I will probably end up buying a Fisher base pen refill for it just to see how it goes, but it feels an awful lot like a G2, guys. So anyways, this is Agent Kyle, just bringing you really quick first impressions of my Everyman Grafton pen. I'm almost certain it's made in China, so if that means anything to you, I would steer away from it. But as far as a cheap everyday carry pen goes, so far it feels like it's going to fit the bill perfectly. So anyway, keep tuned and keep watching, and I'll keep doing updates on this. Probably 2 more videos to come on it, just to give you my, well, I've used it for a week and here's my final impression. But so far so good. I really enjoy this pen already. I can tell it's going to definitely make the carry rotation because it needs to, number one, but also because it'll be really fun to use. So keep staying tuned, guys. Agent Kyle signing out.